All right, what up, people? It's your boy Chig from Goon Eagle Eye, coming to again with a brand new video. Today is about player ratings. Arsenal versus Southampton, where obviously by the time you guys watch this, yesterday, we played Arsenal. Arsenal played Southampton. We won 2-0. What was cruise control really for the game? And obviously this is the player ratings video, so it's about talking about the individual performances. And I'll be honest, a lot of people came to play yesterday. I thought we had to weather a storm probably within the first 15 minutes where it was really end to end. They was giving as good as they were getting, to be fair. We were causing them problems, but they were causing us problems. They'd clearly pinpointed Kolasinac and Mustafi as a weak area for us. And funny enough, shout out to James. I forget his second name. Damn, it's so bad. But shout out to James. I'll remember his name when I put it in the comments below and pin it to this. But me and him were having a little friendly, mind you, back and forth, where I said that I was very worried on the fullback situation because Redmond is someone who I imagine would pinpoint those areas as problem areas for us. And he said that Redmond starting up front for Southampton. I said, trust me, I don't care where he's starting, he'll end up in those areas. In the first 15 minutes, predictably, that's what happened. I will say this. I don't know if it was the players. I don't know if it was the coach. I don't know if it was a combination of the two, but they adjusted that shit real quick. And I thought we were comfortable more or less for the rest of the match. I never felt that we were going to lose. I didn't. This is going to sound stupid because I understand that Leno made a good 4 or 5 amazing saves. I never really felt like they were going to score. So I know that's a weird. I know how weird that is because I know how good the saves were. But again, those are the saves I would expect someone of Leno's supposed quality. I only say supposed as in before the game. That's what I'd expect him to make. And Leno, I'll be honest with Leno. With Leno, and I'll come to him when I mark him shortly, he's slowly starting to convince me. He is slowly starting to convince me. He took a big step with me personally. You know how I've been telling you guys for the last few weeks that I've not been overly convinced about him. But today, I was very impressed today. Very. Because it would have been easy for one of them goals to have gone in and then for us to just face pressure after pressure. And how many times have we seen Arsenal crumble under that type of pressure? So, although I felt we played well, I thought in the second half we just managed the game. That was what I did like about our second half. So I know, like I said in my review, I know probably a lot of people were quite bored with the second half. But to me, I actually quite like the way we contained them. And in the last 15 minutes, particularly when Mesut came on, there were chances that kind of presented themselves to us, which to be honest, without taking anything away from Ozil, it's understandable. You know, the team is coming onto us. So, of course, there are going to be chances that present themselves to us. Chances which, quite honestly, Aubameyang should have done a lot better with. Both of our strikers missed glaring chances. But we'll come to that in the player ratings. So let's start with Bernd Leno in goal. He kept a clean sheet. I thought made 3 or 4 fantastic saves. And as one of 3 people I honestly considered for man of the match here, he just misses out. But for me, 9 out of 10. I'm going to go as far as to say this. His best performance in an Arsenal shirt. I thought it was fantastic. Brilliant performance from Bernd Leno. Even I have to admit it. You know, I'm not as concerned as I was prior to the game starting. So yeah, 9 out of 10. Right back, Stefan Lichtsteiner. What's the matter with me? another good performance. It was a shame for him actually that he picked up the injury, because I actually thought he was doing pretty well. Last couple of performances, been really happy with the old man, I must admit. Real shame for him that he's picked up an injury just when he seems to have found his feet. But yeah, I thought it was a really good performance actually for him. I'm tempted to give him an 8. I'm going to give him a 7 though, 7 out of 10. Not that there was anything he did wrong. He just didn't finish the match. But for me, I'll give him a 7 out of 10. Socrates was another person I seriously considered for man of the match here. I thought Socrates was fantastic. Just shows you what this guy has that the others don't seem to have. I still stand by what I said in the show that I did with Claude and Lee Judges. I still do think that in an ideal world, Socrates would be your first alternate. But we are where we are. We're in the position we're in. We have the defenders that we have. And to be honest with you, Socrates came in and played really well, really authoritative. And I told you about these Greek man. These Greek man can defend. I will always say it, and I say that only with love. The one thing they know how to, I'm not saying that's the only thing, to be clear. We live in the outrage era, so I want to clarify myself. But footballing-wise, you can't fuck with Greek defenders, man. And Socrates is another one of these people who, to me, I just thought he's just a great player and a great defender. And yes, I only wish he was younger and we could build the team around him. But yeah, for me, I give him a 9 out of 10. I thought he was fantastic. Next to him, Mustafi. The only thing I would say for Mustafi is this. He had a dodgy, and I do mean a dodgy, opening 15 minutes, where he, as per usual, was just losing track of Redmond. Was just being dozy Mustafi, really. But then I thought he recovered quite well. Even I have to admit that he did. I don't think he did enough so for me to give him a 7. But I'd give him a 6. I thought he was okay. In the end, he was okay. And you have to give him credit, whether it's by luck, whether it's through Leno, whether it's through something else, probably his defensive partner, to be honest. It's a clean sheet. I can't take that away from him. A clean sheet's a clean sheet. So credit to him in that regard. So I'll give him a 6 out of 10. When I saw Kolasinac in a 4, I was shitting myself. I ain't gonna lie. I was shitting myself. I was like, oh no. And again, in the first 15 minutes, I have to give him equal responsibility. He was lost caught out a couple of times. But like Mustafi, and even better than Mustafi, I actually thought recovered very well. The one thing I'll say for Iwobi, and I'll come to him in a second, is that he seems to develop good relationships with Kolasinac and Monreal. I heard somebody say in a critique recently that they feel that Monreal understands Iwobi better. No. I think Kolasinac understands Iwobi pretty well, because going forward, if you notice, there's never an issue. Defensively is where there's an issue. And I think Iwobi can trust Monreal more defensively than he can trust Kolasinac. But in an attacking sense, Kolasinac has got him. Usually, whenever Iwobi needs an outlet, if you notice, just look straight next to him, Kolasinac will be right there. And I think they combine very, very well. They do. And you saw evidence of that today. But to me, I would give Kolasinac a 7. I thought it did well, considering how dodgy his opening 15 minutes were. So I was very happy to see that the first choice midfield partnership was back, and I thought Torreira did okay. There was a period in the second half where my man was getting fouled left, right, centre. But I thought it was all right. It was just the usual Duracell energy bunny that we needed him to be. And just he really allowed Xhaka to do what Xhaka was doing. And for me, I'm tempted to give him an 8, but I'm going to give him a 7. Granit Xhaka is my man of the match. Easily the best game I've ever seen him have for Arsenal. And I give him a 10 out of 10. I have to be real. I just have to be real. See, for me, this was much more impressive than what he did on Thursday. On Thursday, delivered 2 good corners, but I still wasn't impressed with his. I wasn't that impressed with his overall play. Today, he almost assumed a bit of an advanced role, and I noticed that almost Ramsey was helping him out by dropping into his spot when Xhaka was trying to pull the strings. Southampton paid Xhaka way too much respect. Way too much respect. Xhaka was just pulling the strings in the first half. Second half, I thought he was a lot more conservative, and him and Torreira kind of decided when each other were going to go back and forth. But I was very impressed. And you know me, I don't give 10s easily. But even I have to be real. I thought Granit Xhaka was brilliant. And I'll give him a 10 out of 10. I have to just be real. I have to be real. Which way are we going to go? Let's go on the right. Henrik Mkhitaryan. You guys know my feelings on Henrik Mkhitaryan. You guys know. I think he's been poor since he signed for us. I honestly do. Scal, friend of the show, you'll see me do a preview most likely with him in the next couple of weeks. Was one who was often very, very critical of Mkhitaryan when he played for United. And I always thought to myself, is he really that bad? And we've seen how bad Mkhitaryan can be, particularly over the course of the season. You know, I've watched Arsenal 4 or 5 times this season in person, and he's no better in person. Having said all of that, today I thought he was fantastic. Really played the support casting role. And you know what? I think certain people get the headlines, your Xhakas, your Wobies who I'm going to come to, your Socrates and your Lenos. But to me, I thought Mkhitaryan really did well today. Really did well today. Got himself a goal, got himself an assist. You can't hate on that. Crucial points of the game. And what I also liked today, his work rate was on point, which is usually one of the biggest criticisms I have of him. But he dropped back and helped Lichtsteiner out as much as possible. And then when Kashani came on, and obviously Mustafi moved over to the right-hand side, he helped Mustafi out as much as possible as well. So to me, I was very impressed. Very impressed. And I've got to give him an 8 out of 10. Very good. More of that, please. Aaron Ramsey was okay. Ran about a lot. Thought it was weird that he was made captain, though. Like, what? The motherfucker's leaving. Surely Granit Xhaka should have been captain. That made no sense to me. But yeah. I thought Aaron Ramsey was Aaron Ramsey. He didn't really get into the match per se. I didn't see him do an amazing amount, but he did what he had to do, I guess. And him and Mkhitaryan constantly kept changing positions with each other, and there was good interplay there. He was really trying to just work hard for the team and slot in wherever he was needed. I can understand why he was taken off in the end. But yeah, all in all, I thought was fine. And I'll give him a 6 out of 10. Alex Iwobi is another one I thought was fantastic. Particularly in the opening 15 minutes, him and Mkhitaryan were running Mkhitaryan and Xhaka really were running the fucking show. They were running the show. Every time we were going forward and doing something good, they were behind it. Those 3 in particular were behind it. 3 of probably the most maligned people in the Arsenal squad. It's almost like they were playing with a point to prove. And boy, did they fucking prove it. And I think today was an opportunity for people to appreciate what Iwobi actually does and what he's about. And it's funny, you know, I went on Twitter and I just put on a little Kermit the Frog tea sipping, and so where those Iwobi's haters now? Surprise, surprise, I didn't see any. But you got to give the boy credit. I thought he did well. The guy has an amazing mental fortitude that I got to admit, even as a 34-year-old, I'm almost very envious of, because that's some real Nigerian determination to block all of that shit out and just carry on your thing. Remember, people, for all your criticisms, he is one of our own, remember? He came up through that academy, remember? And it's always good to sometimes remember that. But for me, 8 out of 10, I thought was fantastic. Alex Lacazette. Should have had a hat-trick today, to be honest. And as someone who is a massive backer of this guy and says that he's a better finisher than Aubameyang, I'm starting to rethink my thoughts. But one thing I will say for him, the man is such a hard worker. Such a hard worker. And for me, this is why, if you're going to ask me who starts in the Premier League, I start Lacazette. I think it's pretty simple. In Europe, you start Aubameyang because Aubameyang is going to have the space in Europe to do what Aubameyang does. In the Premier League, you start Lacazette. He works that line like no one else. No one else. And I think it's no coincidence that at the start of the season, you know, and don't get it twisted, I was one of these people who wanted them both to play together. But ultimately, if we're sacrificing the balance of the team for both of them to start, then fuck that. Drop one of them up, drop one of them to the bench. And to me, you play Lacazette. He's in the goal-scoring form. He's the one that works harder. I've said it all along that I think he'll outscore Aubameyang. That's looking unlikely. But I've always said that my basis for that prediction was that I felt he was the better player. He had more to his game. He could hold up play. He had that little burst. I don't think he's amazingly pacey, but he has that little burst of acceleration. He has an eye for goal. I think he has more than football intelligence as well than Aubameyang. So yeah, and that's not me completely shitting on Aubameyang. I just think they're both excellent strikers. It's just that, to me, and I'm happy we have both, don't get me wrong. But when I hear stories of, and they're dumb stories, not for 1 second do I believe them. But when I hear dumb stories like, oh, we want to sell Lacazette, I'm like, for what? What are you talking about? So yeah, 27-year-old Lacazette is doing his thing, and I'm happy we have both these strikers. Don't get me wrong. Very happy we have both these strikers. He did, however, miss an absolute fucking sitter. I was like, what? How? And it was such a bad miss that even if it had been Socrates that missed that, I'd have been like, how the fuck did you miss that? How? It was like from 4 yards out. And you could tell it was right before half time. Like, you could see it put it right off for the rest of that half. It was like 5 minutes before half time. Oh, it was such a bad miss. And he missed a couple that you should have really done better with. But when the time came. I know a lot of people say that they don't know how much Lacazette knew about the goal, but I actually thought he knew, he just reacted, but I think he knew what he was doing in the reaction when the ball came into him and he just steered it past the keeper, kind of in a backheel type of way. To me, I think he knew exactly what he was doing. And credit to him. I thought it was a fabulous finish. And I'm glad that they kept going until the whistle, because it was kind of a crucial phase of play where they had a chance, then we immediately counter-attacked them. And then someone was brought down. I can't even remember. I think it was Mkhitaryan or someone like that was brought down. A couple of the players were appealing, but we kept going, and Lacazette finished it. I was like, yes, because it would have been real easy to like either stop and be too busy appealing and shit. So I'm real happy that happened. But yeah, job done, 2-0, and it was what it was. And I think Lacazette, for my money, if he had scored that second goal, he would have been threatening man of the match status for that. But just for the miss, I'll give him an 8. I'll give him an 8 out of 10. That feels right. Let's talk about the 3 subs real quick. Kashani came on for the injured Lichtsteiner. And I thought did all right. I'm amazed, actually, that he's playing, considering the way he walked off on Thursday. But fair play to him. Did what he needed to do, and I'll give him a 6 out of 10. Ozil came on. And Ozil came on, and I thought he did all right, actually, to be fair to him. He came on, made a couple of chances in the last 15 minutes. But like I say, of course he would. You know, that the team were coming onto us in order to try and make a chance. But so it's not really that surprising that he had opportunities to create chances for Aubameyang, which Aubameyang should have really done better with, and I'll come to that in a second. But I actually thought Ozil did pretty well. I know people are spunking all over the place saying that he was amazing for his little 15-minute cameo, and how he deserves a starting spot. Calm down. He had a good 10, 15 minutes. I think he might start on Wednesday, but just because I think that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm campaigning for the fact that he should. Having said all of this, I think with Mesut Ozil, he deserves a 6 out of 10. Credit where credit's due. For a substitute who came on for 20 minutes, ain't bad, 6 out of 10. And then Aubameyang. Yeah. He's always going to miss a chance, yo. I said I was the first one to say this, and I think people are clocking on. Whenever Aubameyang plays, there is a lack. You see that chance that Lacazette missed? There's one of them in Aubameyang's locker every time he plays. I've realized that now, and now it doesn't even surprise me. It just goes over my head. There was one opportunity where Ozil had this little clever exchange with him, and he put him through. And for some unusual reason, I don't know if he just didn't know if he wanted to pass it to Lacazette or if he just hit it into the ground. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. Oh, I ain't gonna lie. I was so pissed. I was sat right here and I got up. I was just like, fuck off. What the fuck are you doing? Just shows you I want to score goals no matter what. Even if I know we're going to win, no matter what. To me, I'll give him I'll give him a 5. I don't want to give him a 4 because we won the game. So I'll give him a 5. 5 out of 10. And for Unai Emery, listen, I'm going to give Emery an 8 out of 10. He's starting to realize that I think that the 5 doesn't work. And I guess the biggest test of that will be what he picks against Spurs, because I notice he tends to go with 3 at the back away from home. I'm praying that that doesn't happen on next Saturday. But let's not look ahead. We've got Bournemouth now. But he's starting to realize that at home, we should be 4 at the back. He made some big calls today with Kolasinac and Lichtsteiner. And both those calls worked out, to be fair. And yeah, he picked a team that ultimately won. We clearly managed the game, and I'm going to assume that that was under his instruction. We kept a clean sheet. What the hell more can I can't. There's not a lot else that can be said. We won the game. We scored goals. We kept a clean sheet. 3 points, on to the next. So 8 out of 10. So on to Bournemouth we go. So let's see what happens. You guys let me know what you think. Leave it in the comments down below. If you like this video, crush, destroy, drop kick the shit out of that like button. I appreciate it when you guys do that. You'll notice that this came out at 7 a.m. in the morning, so I'm hoping you've enjoyed it on the way to work. My soothing voice on the way to work. Gosh, I don't know why I said that. But yeah, I'm hoping you enjoyed it on the way to work. I've done this now for the simple reason that on Monday I just want to give you guys and myself, quite honestly, a break. And then Tuesday I'll be back for the preview for Bournemouth. Wednesday I'll be back for the review. Thursday, it's the big build-up. It's the big game. It's the Spuds. And I've got a special show for that one lined up. So stay tuned. And the best way you can do that by hitting the subscribe button, hitting that notification bell. You'll never miss a show. Also, crush the like button. Crush that like button. I appreciate it always when you guys do that. Let's see if we can get 100 likes in this thing. 100 likes in this thing. And yeah, I really appreciate it if you could do that. And yeah, that's pretty much it from me. You can follow me on Twitter at Colossal Chig. Follow me on Instagram, Guna_Eagle_I1. And you can support the show on Patreon, which is again Guna_Eagle_I. And that's it from me, people. Enjoy your Monday. Don't let the Monday blues get to you too bad. I'll be back later in the week. Take care. Deuces.